Imagine walking into work today. You're grabbing your coffee, completely unaware of what's waiting for you.
Right, just a totally normal Tuesday.
Exactly. But behind closed doors, your employer HR dashboard has it's already flagged your profile.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It analyzed the microscopic tremors in your voice during a Zoom call yesterday. And it detected severe burnout.
Just from a Zoom call.
Just the audio. And then it cross-referenced that with like how slowly you've been typing on your company smartphone.
Wow.
And the fact that your phone HAPS showed you basically didn't leave your couch all weekend.
Okay, that's a lot of tracking.
Right. So based purely on that data, it has predicted with an 85% accuracy that you are going to quit in the next 60 days.
That is just so wild. But I mean, if that isn't dystopian enough, here's the truly chilling part.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah. Yeah, you provided every single data point voluntarily.
Wait, really?
Yeah. You gave them direct access to your mind because, well, you thought you were talking to your free, company-provided, highly empathetic digital therapist.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
It is.
So we are skipping the casual banter today because, honestly, this topic is moving way too fast.
It really is.
We are jumping straight into the 24/7 reality of the $200 billion mental health industry getting completely just totally hacked by AI.
Absolutely.
Welcome to this deep dive from MediaGenX. We are putting on our independent analyst hats today to break down a massive tectonic shift in how we handle the human mind.
Yeah, the entire landscape of mental health care is transitioning. It's moving from a reactive hourly service into a proactive continuous software subscription.
It's crazy.
It is a fundamental rewiring of psychiatry.
Right, and our stat research today, it focuses on this concept of effective computing.
Yeah, and the rapidly approaching era of the algorithmic therapist.
So we are essentially leaving behind the world where you sit on a couch once a week.
Exactly. We are entering a reality where your phone is constantly, invisibly monitoring your psychological baseline.
So we're going to explore exactly how this technology works, like the literal physics of voice analysis.
That's fascinating.
Oh, it's mind-blowing. And crucially for this show, we're going to look at the money behind it.
Because the margins here are just staggering.
They really are. But I want to set a marker right now for something we're going to hit a bit later. We're calling it the corporate Trojan horse.
Oh, yeah, we have to talk about that.
We are going to peel back the curtain on how the ultimate sanctuary of human vulnerability, the therapist's couch,
right?
How it's being quietly colonized by massive employers.
It's wild. They're using your deepest anxieties to manage their insurance premiums.
Yes.
And to slash their employee turnover. And it's all masterfully disguised as a generous wellness perk.
It's so insidious. That corporate angle is definitely the dark side of this technological leap.
It completely inverts the fundamental fiduciary duty of a healthcare provider.
It totally does.
Yeah.
But, okay, to understand why capital is absolutely flooding into the algorithmic therapist space.
And it is flooding.
Oh, venture capital firms are betting billions on this right now. We have to start with the money.
Right.
We have to look at the broken unit economics of the traditional human therapy model.
Yeah, because the legacy mental health industry is governed by this incredibly restrictive, unavoidable constraint.
Human labor.
Exactly, human labor. Traditional therapy, as we know it, is essentially a luxury good.
Right.
You are renting the brain of a highly educated professional for anywhere from, say, $150 to $300.
Just for a 50-minute hour.
Right, for 50 minutes.
And that professional is biologically capped. Like, a licensed clinical psychologist can only see roughly 20 to 25 patients a week.
Yeah, if they push past that, they burn out.
They suffer from compassion fatigue.
Absolutely. They need vacations, they get sick, and most importantly, they are completely unavailable to you at 3 in the morning.
Right, when you wake up in the middle of a terrifying panic attack, your therapist is asleep.
Exactly. So the math of mass-producing human therapists, it just does not work for a global population.
You cannot quickly scale something that requires, 6 to 8 years of extensive graduate schooling?
Yeah, and thousands of hours of clinical supervision.
The World Health Organization data in our sources is staggering on this front.
It's really grim.
It is. Globally, over 75% of people in low to middle income countries receive absolutely zero treatment.
Zero. for mental health disorders.
And it's not much better in the developed world, honestly.
Right. I mean, if you are lucky enough to have great insurance, you are still sitting on a 6-month wait list just to get an intake appointment.
It's crazy. We're staring down this escalating global crisis of anxiety and depression, and our primary weapon is an unscalable, artisanal, one-on-one conversation.
Artisanal is the perfect word for it, but it goes deeper than just economics. The research highlights a fundamental biological mismatch. You referred to this earlier as the dosage problem.
Yes, the dosage problem. This completely changed how I think about therapy.
So let's look at the mechanics of human memory and traditional therapy.
Okay.
Say you sit on a therapist's couch on a Tuesday afternoon, and you are trying to recall and articulate a severe emotional trigger that happened at a dinner party on a Thursday night.
Right, days ago.
Exactly. By the time you explain it, the data is severely degraded.
Yeah, because human memory is terrible.
It is. You are providing a low-resolution, highly subjective, post-rationalized summary of your week.
Right. You're giving the polished version of the story.
Yeah. But your brain does not operate on a weekly retrospective schedule.
No.
The human brain operates in a continuous real-time feedback loop. It's neurochemistry reacting to environmental stimuli right then and there.
When I was reading through the clinical notes on this, a comparison hit me.
Yeah.
It's just as if you walked into a hospital with a severe systemic bacterial infection, and the doctor prescribed you exactly 1 dose of an antibiotic per week.
Oh, man.
Right. And then they just tell you to essentially white-knuckle your way through the other 167 hours of the week based on that one 50-minute intervention.
That captures the absurdity of the legacy model perfectly.
It's so wild when you frame it like that.
It is. You are applying a sporadic, localized treatment to a continuous systemic condition.
Right.
If you want to actually solve the mental health crisis.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if you are a massive fund looking to capture a $200 billion total addressable market,
Which they are.
you must entirely decouple the medical intervention from human labor.
Right. Which brings us directly to the technological solution.
The AI.
Exactly. If human beings cannot scale to meet this demand, what takes their place? And let's be incredibly clear here.
Yeah, please clarify.
We are not talking about those basic 2020s text bots that just asked, how does that make you feel?
Right, and gave you a little digital sticker.
Yeah, exactly.
Far from it. Those early apps were glorified journaling tools.
They were.
They were clinically shallow, and they relied entirely on self-reporting.
Which we just established is flawed.
Exactly. What replaces the human therapist is the 2026 breakthrough of effective computing.
Okay, effective computing.
Yeah, paired with a field known as digital phenotyping.
Right.
The massive paradigm shift is this. The AI no longer asks you how you feel.
Okay.
It measures how you function.
Wow. Okay, I need to understand the physics of this because the research outlines a concept that honestly just blew my mind.
The 1.4-second diagnosis?
Yes, a 1.4-second diagnosis based on vocal biomarkers.
Yes, okay.
I mean, I talk into my phone and it knows I'm depressed. How is that physically possible?
So it relies on the incredibly complex physiology of human speech.
Okay.
When a person begins to slip into a depressive episode or when they are highly anxious, the autonomic nervous system physically alters the body.
Right, the fight or flight stuff.
Exactly, long before the semantic content of your words changes.
So before I start saying sad things.
Yes. Long before that, the muscles in your larynx tighten.
So the actual vocal cords change shape under stress.
They do, and this creates microscopic tremors in your speech.
Okay.
Audio engineers measure these tiny variations in pitch and amplitude as jitter and shimmer.
Chitter and shimmer, okay.
Yeah. On top of that, the heavy cognitive load of clinical depression literally slows down your brain's processing speed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that increases the micropauses between your words, and it flattens your pitch contour.
So you sound more monotone.
Exactly. And modern AI models have been trained on tens of thousands of hours of clinically annotated audio,
Okay.
so they can detect these subperceptual physiological shifts instantly.
Subperceptual meaning a human listener wouldn't even notice.
Exactly. Even a trained human therapist might miss it.
So practically speaking, I could just pick up my smartphone to set a timer.
Yeah.
And I say something completely mundane like, remind me to call my mother tomorrow.
That 1.4-second audio clip is literally all it needs. The AI analyzes the sound wave. It detects a 12% increase in your vocal shimmer, compared to your historical baseline.
Because it knows what I normally sound like.
Exactly. It notices your pitch is flatter than usual.
Right.
And it calculates a 200 millisecond delay in your cognitive processing speed based on the pause before the word mother.
That is insanely precise.
It is, but it doesn't make a diagnosis in a vacuum. It immediately cross-references that audio file with passive biometric telemetry.
Ah, the digital phenotyping.
Right.
So it's looking at everything else the phone knows about me.
Yeah, it looks at your smartphone's internal accelerometer.
Okay.
It calculates your movement radius, literally how many feet you've traveled from your bed.
Oh, man.
And it notices it has shrunk by 40% over the last 3 days.
Because I haven't left the house.
Exactly. It pulls your screen time metrics and observes you were aggressively doom-scrolling social media at 2:00 a.m.
Instead of getting restorative sleep.
Right.
I want to pause here and really emphasize the contrarian reality of this technology.
Yeah, it's a huge shift.
Because it shatters everything we assume about mental health care.
Totally.
In the legacy human model, healing has to start with self-awareness.
You have to know you have a problem.
Right. You have to realize you are suffering, overcome the stigma, pick up the phone and actively seek help.
Yes.
This AI completely bypasses human insight.
That's the scariest and most amazing part.
I don't even have to know I'm depressed.
Right. That is the most profound disruption of the entire field.
Yeah.
The machine is acting as a continuous background radiation monitor for your psyche.
Wow. A background radiation monitor?
Yeah, it is constantly updating a high-resolution, real-time digital twin of your emotional baseline.
So it knows me better than I know myself.
Often, yes. The data shows these systems can diagnose the onset of a major depressive episode 3 days before the patient consciously realizes they are slipping into a depression.
3 days before.
Yes.
It sees the hurricane forming before a single cloud appears in my conscious mind.
That's a great way to put it. But it isn't just passively watching you decline.
Right. It doesn't just send me an alert saying, hey, you're depressed.
No, it actively intervenes.
Which takes us into the human story of how this actually plays out in a high-stakes environment.
Yeah.
The sources refer to this as the 247 CBT look.
Cognitive behavioral therapy on autopilot.
So we are moving from weekly insight to just-in-time intervention.
Exactly. So take the case of a high-stress corporate executive.
Okay.
Let's say this is a founder whose company is struggling and they are incredibly prone to catastrophic anxiety spirals.
Very common.
Right, particularly before major board meetings.
A completely relatable scenario. The pressure is immense, the stakes are their entire livelihood, and their body is reacting like they're being hunted by a predator.
In the traditional model, this executive feels the panic building in the elevator.
Right.
They white-knuckle their way through the panic attack, sweating through their shirt, barely surviving the board meeting.
Just a terrible experience.
Yeah. Then they spend 50 minutes unpacking that traumatic physiological event with a therapist 3 days later on a Tuesday.
So the intervention is entirely reactive.
Exactly.
They've already endured the biological damage. Cortisol has flooded their system.
But in the effective computing model, the AI therapist is deeply integrated into their wearable tech,
Like their Apple Watch or whatever.
their smartwatch and their noise-canceling earbuds.
Okay.
As that executive walks toward the boardroom, the smartwatch detects a sudden, sharp spike in heart rate variability.
HRV.
Yes, and a dramatic drop in galvanic skin response.
Let's clarify galvanic skin response for a second because it sounds like science fiction.
It does.
This is basically the AI detecting sweaty palms, right?
Yeah, it is the electrical measurement of stress.
Okay.
When your brain senses danger, it triggers the sympathetic nervous system.
The fight or flight response.
Right. That instantly activates your sweat glands. Even before you feel physically clammy or wet, that microscopic layer of moisture changes the electrical conductivity of your skin.
Oh, wow.
The watch sensors pick up that tiny shift in electrical resistance.
So the watch literally feels the electricity of their panic.
Exactly. And before the executive even consciously registers that a full-blown panic attack is imminent, the AI intervenes.
Wait, before they even know they're panicking. Yeah.
It subtly alters the acoustic profile of their noise-canceling earbuds.
What does that mean?
It introduces a subperceptual binaural beat into whatever they are listening to.
Subperceptual again, so they don't even hear it happening.
Right. This specific audio frequency is mathematically designed to coax their brain waves out of a high-stress beta state and force them down into a lower, calmer alpha state.
It's manipulating the auditory environment to hack their brainwaves without them even asking.
Simultaneously, it sends a gentle haptic tap to their wrist.
Okay.
The executive glances at their smartphone screen, and there is a micro CBT prompt waiting for them.
What does it say?
It says, your biometrics indicate you are entering the catastrophizing cognitive distortion.
Oh.
Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds.
It catches them right at the edge of the cliff.
Exactly. It meets them at the exact millisecond of their neurological vulnerability.
That is just wild.
It guides them through somatic regulation in real time, right there in the hallway outside the boardroom.
That's incredible.
And because it is a machine learning model, over time, it learns exactly which specific interventions work best for that individual's unique biology.
Okay, I have to jump in and push back heavily on this.
Okay, yeah.
As a pure mechanism for symptom management, it sounds miraculous.
Sure.
Like, if my heart rate is at 140 and I feel like I'm dying, I want the panic attack stopped.
Of course.
But aren't we just treating human beings like programmable machines?
It's a valid question.
Like, if I hate my job and my board of directors is toxic and I am suffering because my environment is fundamentally hostile,
Yeah.
hacking my brainwaves so I can survive another hour in that boardroom isn't a cure. It's subjugation. Are we actually healing the mind, or are we just optimizing the meat suit to keep producing?
You are hitting on the central, lingering ethical debate of the entire digital therapeutics industry.
Right.
Are we addressing root causes or merely optimizing output?
Exactly.
The clinical outcomes unequivocally show that for mild to moderate anxiety, this continuous loop is incredibly effective.
Because it's always there.
Right, often more effective than human therapy simply because the dosage is so high.
Yeah.
But your objection is entirely valid.
Yeah.
It is a highly mechanistic view of human suffering.
It really is.
It treats anxiety as a software bug to be patched, rather than a rational response to an irrational world.
Yes, that's exactly it. A rational response to an irrational world.
Right.
Which naturally leads us to ask, who actually benefits from a perfectly patched, highly functional human being?
Ah, the money question.
Who is paying for this 24/7 miracle? And this is where the story pivots from healthcare innovation to massive corporate surveillance.
It really does.
We've arrived at the corporate Trojan horse.
So if you look at the consumer-facing market for mental health apps, it is a brutal business.
Really? I feel like everyone has one on their phone.
They do, but it is oversaturated and suffers from massive subscriber churn.
Okay.
People download an app, they do some breathing exercises for a week, get bored, and delete it.
Right, I've done that like 5 times.
Exactly. The true multi-billion-dollar gold mine, the reason the massive valuations exist,
Yeah.
is the B2B corporate wellness market.
Because for a massive Fortune 500 company, employee burnout and turnover aren't just HR problems.
Right.
They are catastrophic, multi-million-dollar line item expenses.
Yes. When a senior software engineer or a department director burns out and quits, it costs the company hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost productivity, institutional knowledge, and expensive recruitment to replace them.
So expensive.
Furthermore, when a massive workforce is chronically stressed, the company's self-funded health insurance premiums skyrocket.
Right, so the corporation comes in playing the role of the benevolent employer.
Oh, absolutely.
They say, hey team, we know things have been stressful. We care deeply about your mental health.
We care so much.
Right. We are now offering you this premium AI therapist as a completely free wellness perk.
And to an exhausted employee, it sounds amazing.
I mean, it does. Unlimited on-demand therapy, completely subsidized by the boss.
Who wouldn't want that?
Exactly. So the employee eagerly opts in.
Yeah. They download the platform, connect their wearable devices, and start using it.
And at 10:00 p.m. on a Tuesday, they talk to the AI about their imposter syndrome, the friction in their marriage.
Yeah.
And perhaps they extensively vent about how much they despise their current micromanaging boss.
Which happens a lot. And the AI provides stellar, highly empathetic CBT support.
It's good at its job.
The employee feels heard, regulated, and genuinely better.
But then we flip the screen around.
Right.
We look at the dark side of the terms of service. Put me in the shoes of an HR director on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
What do I actually see on my dashboard?
Well, the software companies will loudly promise that the specific audio transcripts of your therapy sessions are strictly encrypted.
Okay, so they can't read the words.
Right. Your HR director cannot read the transcript where you called your boss a sociopath.
That's a relief.
However, the aggregated metadata The biometric trends and the predictive risk scores go straight to the HR People Analytics dashboard.
Oh my God. So the HR director logs in and essentially sees a heat map of the company's psyche.
Exactly. The system flags the data anomalies.
Okay.
The HR director sees that the engineering department is showing a 30% aggregate increase in vocal biomarkers associated with severe burnout over the last 3 weeks.
Wow. But it gets far more granular than just departments, right?
Oh, yeah. The system predicts with 85% accuracy that 3 specific senior developers.
By name.
It lists their names. It predicts they're going to quit in the next 60 days.
Based entirely on the fact that their physical movement radius shrank, their typing cadence slowed down, and the AI detected laryngeal microtremors during their supposedly private late-night therapy sessions.
That is exactly what it bases it on. Armed with that predictive data, HR proactively intervenes.
Wow.
Before those developers even draft a resignation letter or update their LinkedIn profiles, HR swoops in.
What do?
They offer them a surprise retention bonus, or perhaps a mandatory week of paid time off,
Just out of the blue.
or a sudden lateral transfer to a lower stress project.
From the corporation's perspective, this is the holy grail.
Oh, it is. It is a massive return on investment. They just preemptively saved $500,000 in turnover costs.
But from the employee's perspective,
Yeah.
the ultimate sanctuary of vulnerability, like the one place you are supposed to be completely unmasked, has been colonized by your employer.
That is the core conflict of interest here.
Yeah.
You are confessing your deepest, darkest anxieties to an entity whose ultimate fiduciary duty is not to your personal healing, but to the corporation's risk management and productivity metrics.
Wow.
Its mandate is to keep you just functional enough to keep generating revenue.
It is an incredibly sophisticated surveillance tool draped in the language of empathy.
Perfectly said.
And because it is so massively profitable for these corporations, this technology is going to completely restructure the capital markets around mental health.
Oh, entirely.
When corporations realize they can save millions on turnover, this stops being just a healthcare story and becomes a massive capital reallocation story.
The money is going to move fast.
Which brings us to the wealth playbook. How do you actually position yourself or your capital around this shift?
Let's move straight into the macroeconomic strategy.
Lay it out.
The first major play is a real case study of what is vulnerable. You have to look at shorting legacy telehealth.
We are talking about the massive gig therapy platforms that blew up over the last few years, right?
Exactly. Companies like BetterHelp and Talkspace. These companies built massive, publicly traded businesses, essentially acting as the Uber for therapists.
Right, they built slick consumer marketing to connect a patient with a human therapist over text or video.
Yeah.
And they take a hefty cut, often around 30% of the human therapist's hourly rate?
Sometimes even more.
But their entire business model is trapped in that biological mathematical bottleneck we discussed in the first segment.
Exactly. They are permanently capped by the finite supply of human labor.
They still have to recruit, manage, and pay expensive human beings.
Right. And as the clinical efficacy of these continuous loop AI systems becomes undeniable,
Yeah.
the corporate buyers, the ones who actually subsidize a huge portion of healthcare spending,
Right, the employers.
they are going to do the brutal math. They will aggressively pivot to B2B AI platforms that cost $5 a month per employee at scale,
$5 a month.
rather than paying $200 a month to subsidize gig worker human therapists.
Margins just obliterate the old model.
Yes. Those legacy telehealth platforms face an imminent subscriber collapse.
Right.
Shorting them is a highly asymmetric macro trade, as margins shift entirely from human labor to infinitely scalable software.
So if the smart money is shorting the legacy gig economy therapy, where is it going?
Good question.
If consumer-facing therapy apps are just, easily replicated user interfaces, who actually owns the moat here?
You invest in the picks and shovels.
Ah, okay.
The true monopolies, the undisputed toll booths of this new industry, are the mid-cap biotech and AI infrastructure firms holding the proprietary data sets and the API access.
For the vocal biomarkers and facial action coding.
Exactly. The companies that actually spent the last decade painstakingly mapping exactly what a depressed vocal cord sounds like.
They did the grueling foundational work.
Right. They partnered with clinical research hospitals tools.
Yeah.
They built the ground truth data sets mapping laryngeal microtremors to specific clinical diagnoses from the DSM-5.
And for those unaware, the DSM-5 is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It is basically the universal rulebook that psychiatrists use to classify everything from clinical depression to schizophrenia.
Exactly. So these data companies mapped the voice to the DSM-5, and then they patented the algorithms.
Okay.
Now, every new digital therapeutic app, every corporate wellness platform, every smart speaker manufacturer,
They all have to pay the toll.
exactly. They all have to license those effective APIs if they want their software to accurately read human emotion. They own the underlying infrastructure of the effective computing revolution.
Own the API, own the market. Now, looking further out, what is the 5-year outlook here?
Okay, the 5-year view.
Because we have to address the massive elephant in the room, which is privacy.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't care how good the AI is, the thought of my 2.00 a.m. tearful confessions streaming to a centralized cloud server farm to be processed alongside millions of others is horrifying.
And everyone feels that way. The single biggest barrier to mass adoption is the terror of data privacy. Nobody wants their deepest psychological trauma hacked, leaked, or quietly mined to serve them better targeted advertisements.
The dystopian targeted ads, yes.
The industry knows this. So the 5-year outlook to solve it is a concept called local edge compute therapeutics.
Break that down. How does edge computing solve the server problem?
It relies on rapid advances in the physical silicon chips inside your smartphone.
Okay.
The goal is to compress a highly capable, emotionally intelligent, small language model.
An SLM.
Right, an SLM, so that the entire neural network runs locally on your device's physical hardware.
Meaning the data literally never leaves my phone.
Exactly. The emotional telemetry, the voice processing, the generative therapeutic response, all of the heavy computing happens entirely on the chip in your pocket. It never pings a cell tower. It never touches the internet.
That is massive for privacy.
It is. The hardware companies developing these specific edge privacy chips are creating what will become the ultimate luxury asset of the digital age.
Which is?
Cryptographic privacy for your psychological trauma.
Cryptographic privacy for psychological trauma. That is a wild phrase to wrap your head around, but you are right. It will be incredibly valuable.
Huge.
This leads us to the playbook for the builders and the founders out there. If you are an entrepreneur looking at this space, the research is very clear. Do not try to build a general AI therapist.
No, do not do that. The general consumer market will be completely dominated by the tech giants who already own the hardware ecosystems.
Right. Apple, Google, they'll just bake it into the OS.
Exactly. If you are building, you must focus on niche digital phenotyping.
Okay.
You need to build highly specialized, deeply empathetic B2B software trained on the unique, suppressed trauma patterns of very specific demographics.
Give me an example of how that niche targeting actually works.
Well, the sources highlight first responders, ER nurses, and military veterans.
Okay.
You train your specific vocal biomarker models on how a combat veteran suppresses trauma in their speech.
I see.
Because the cadence, the tone, and the phrasing of military PTSD looks and sounds completely different from how a corporate executive suppresses boardroom anxiety.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
They are totally different linguistic profiles.
Right. Once you have that bespoke model, you sell that highly specialized software directly to municipal governments, police departments, or defense contractors.
Who have massive budgets.
Yes. They are desperate for solutions to reduce PTSD and slash turnover in their highly specialized ranks.
So, we have a clear financial playbook.
We do.
The unit economics are completely undeniable. But before we wrap up this deep dive, we have to pull back from the balance sheets.
Yeah.
And look at the profound philosophical implications. We have to examine what humanity actually loses when we automate the soul.
It's a heavy question. The sources refer to this terrifying end state as the therapeutic monoculture.
The therapeutic monoculture. What does that mean exactly?
This is where the frictionless efficiency of the machine collides with the messy complexity of human nature. Think about the landscape of human therapists. They are incredibly diverse.
Right.
They have different theoretical orientations, different religious backgrounds, different life experiences, and frankly, different human flaws.
Yeah, sometimes you go to therapy and you need someone who is incredibly warm, maternal, and comforting.
Exactly.
But other times, you need a therapist who is going to sharply challenge your worldview, Yeah, maybe even piss you off a little bit to force a cognitive breakthrough.
Right. But an AI therapist is going to be relentlessly optimized by a central corporate laboratory.
Okay.
It will be tuned by engineers for maximum user engagement and maximum short-term symptom reduction.
Because that's what the metrics demand.
Yes. Peak of that optimization pressure, it will inevitably converge on a single, homogenized therapeutic voice.
It will just be endlessly polite.
Endlessly polite, perfectly calibrated, and completely devoid of any idiosyncratic human friction.
Wow.
We risk flattening the vast, wild landscape of human healing into a single, sterilized, algorithmic mean.
We lose the friction.
We do.
And I think, even more profoundly, we lose the human witness. I was reading the expert analysis on this in our source stack, and it genuinely struck a nerve.
Yeah, that part is heavy.
Deep healing, especially when we're talking about profound trauma therapy, isn't just about cognitive reframing or doing a 4-second breathing exercise in a hallway.
No, it's not.
It requires having your deepest, darkest shame looked at by a conscious, vulnerable, mortal human being
Right.
who does not look away.
The healing power of the therapeutic alliance comes entirely from shared mortality.
Shared mortality, yes.
The person sitting across from you on that couch is also human. They know what it physically feels like to grieve, to watch their body age, and to fear their own inevitable death.
An AI cannot witness you because an AI cannot suffer.
No.
It has absolutely no skin in the game of life. It doesn't bleed, and I think a primal lizard brain part of us knows that.
Oh, we definitely know it on some level.
When you are pouring your heart out at 3 a.m.,
Yeah.
crying into your phone, and the AI responds with this perfectly synthesized, flawlessly empathetic voice, a part of you knows it's just a simulation. Let's explain what's really happening. It's just minimizing a loss function.
Right.
In machine learning, a loss function is just a math equation trying to hit zero. It's an algorithm trying to reduce its error rate.
Exactly.
It is not feeling empathy for your tears. It is mathematically calculating the statistically most probable string of words to make you stop crying.
And that raises the most important question about the long-term impact on our society.
Yeah.
We might successfully cure the mechanical symptoms of anxiety and depression. We might use wearables to perfectly regulate everyone's nervous system so they can keep working.
Right.
But by replacing the human confessor with an algorithmic optimizer, we leave the profound existential loneliness of the human condition entirely untouched.
Perfectly regulated, but profoundly alone.
Yeah.
That is a heavy, heavy thought to process.
It is the ultimate, unavoidable trade-off of the effective computing era.
Let's pull all of this together. The mental health industry is rapidly shifting from a $200 an hour reactive luxury into a proactive, continuous software utility.
Yep.
The legacy telehealth platforms built on the backs of human labor are going to crumble under the brutal math of scale.
They don't stand a chance.
The real wealth is going to flow to the foundational vocal biomarker APIs, the edge compute privacy chips keeping our data off the cloud, and the niche phenotyping startups targeting highly specific trauma.
We are rapidly entering an era where your smartwatch knows you are deeply depressed before you do, and your employer is quietly footing the bill to ensure you don't quit.
But in exchange for all that biological optimization, we are handing our most vulnerable, messy human moments over to a machine that cannot actually empathize, creating a sterile therapeutic monoculture.
The couch is empty, and the algorithm is listening.
Which brings us back to that HR dashboard and those vocal microtremors we started with. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you go about your week. If an AI therapist could listen to your voice 24/7, detect your anxiety before you even feel the physical symptoms, and expertly guide you through a panic attack at 3:00 a.m. for just $20 a month,
Right.
would you use it? Or does the creeping knowledge that a machine is mathematically analyzing your deepest trauma make it impossible to ever be truly vulnerable?
Protect your capital.
And guard your mind. We'll catch you on the next one.